Let's talk about Nicholas Godejohn. This is the young boy who actually is the one who carried out the stabbing of Dee Dee Blanchard at the behest of of Gypsy. He's in prison for life without the possibility of parole. I know nothing in life is fair, but you look at this case, you kind of go, obviously a man who had a lot of mental health problems, diagnosed, undiagnosed, various things going on there, a low IQ, but did what he thought was right. And by many people looking at this, I think they would say too, he did what was right. You can't take the law into your hand and murder people, though. But he's in jail for the rest of his life. The one who wanted this done, the one who pulled everybody in to do this, or him in to do this, is now free. Is that something? Is that a flaw in the system here? The fact that Gypsy Rose is able to be out and free, and this man is now going to be in prison for the rest of his life?
I mean, not really. Like, again, like, whatever his deficiencies were, I blame that on his lawyer,
Yeah.
and as I sit here, I do not know. Do you know, did he go to trial or was that a plea?
I believe he just admitted it flat out in questioning. So there really wasn't much of a there was a plea that was made, but there was no trial because right away when he was questioned, the first thing he said was, "Okay, I did it, but I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for Gypsy. I was doing it, and I'm paraphrasing
Right.
to help her, basically."
Right, to
Yeah.
save her from the situation. Yeah, I mean, when you have a client like that as a defense attorney, I mean, your sole job is to try to mitigate the sentence as
Mhm.
much as possible, and I'm assuming that they did some stuff, but I would have been sending this kid to like working towards a plea. Like I'm going to go back to that Van Noonen case. I mean, there was no question that Jennifer had caved her father's head in. It was kind of the same thing.
Mhm.
The question was, how do we sentence her? And that's like a big part of the legal system that people really just don't understand is much more prevalent than the trials that we all watch. Like these plea agreements in terms of trying to work with the state in order to try to come up with a punishment that's just in terms of taking into consideration the crime and all the circumstances surrounding the crime. Do I think that this was a just sentence for this kid? Not really. I mean, yeah, he deserves to go in because he ended somebody's life, but there's an argument to be made no matter what his motive was, whether he felt like he was in love with her, whether he was
Mhm.
incredibly sympathetic to her plight, whatever it was, his motive kind of pure.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell me whatever you want to say, but again, like the torture that kid went through, like we've talked about, like Ruby Frankie, yeah, that's bad stuff. This is next level.
Yeah.
Like we talk about how we're wanting to throw Ruby Frank in prison for the rest of her life. Well, like what this woman did to her kid for the entirety of her life, like trumps that by 1,000.
Yeah.
Just does,
Yeah.
like, the psychological damage. So, I mean, if you're asking my personal opinion, I think it's a little stiff. I would like to see the kid like, I don't know if he's going to be eligible for parole at some point. I mean, I think if he does, like, a good long stretch,
Mhm.
I think that there's some justification that I'm not saying he's a hero, but I'm saying that I don't think that situation really calls for him being put in prison for the rest of his life. I just there's like every situation is different,
Yeah.
and you can't ignore the underlying facts of what was going on there.
No.
I mean, like this kid was like, I got no problem with Gypsy making money. I got to
Sure.
be honest with you, man.
Yeah.
Like she had no childhood to speak of, and she was tortured.
Yeah,
Like
it's her story to
I mean, can
tell.
you
Yeah,
imagine
yeah,
that?
no, yeah, yeah, no, it's her story to tell, and I have no issue with that. I was just that I mean, that just came to mind because of the recent, the Asa Elrup things
Totally.
is what came to my mind there. I'm like, like, is this a double? Because we had argued that the other day of, okay,
Yeah.
if the law does go into place like this about family members, although we're not talking about a family member, we're talking about the direct person who is affected.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
and the
it's a great
logistics. Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
It really is,
Yeah.
and I think it's a case by case
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, like it's not like she's a serial killer who was
Mhm.
killing people with no motive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
sure.
It's just a different circumstances. Like you said, man, I mean, it's her story to
Mhm.
tell. She survived it. She did her time on it, and it was time that the state thought was ample.
Yeah.
I mean, again, the state is the one who came with the offer, and they accepted it, and she did her time, and now she's out. I think it would be like a breach of her First Amendment rights.
Mhm.
Like how are they able to stop her from doing it? It's just a different
Yeah.
situation where you've got a cold-blooded killer trying to, like reap benefits from their ill-gotten gains from their acts, but it's different. Just
Yeah.
as in my estimation.
Yeah.
People may disagree with me, but in my estimation, I'm fine with it.
Everything about this case is different. Hey, it's Tony Brueski. If you like the podcast, be sure to like, subscribe, and press that bell so you don't miss any of our updates on the cases we're following for you right here at the Hidden Killers podcast from True Crime Today. And thanks